Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm LD. He's Draskell. It's time for game number 2. Empire taking on Team No Diggity. They need to win 2 in a row here and then a best of 5 against Ad Finum Empire. One more game and they'd be on to the grand finals and have a good shot at going to the Manila Major as the last representative to come from Europe. So with that, we do have a draft underway here. Let's hop right into game number 1. Hello, Draskell.
Hey, what's up?
What are you thinking here for game number 2?
I'm thinking we see a Venno first pick by No Diggity. That's a little bit different than what I was expecting. But I guess, after the first game against Empire, you probably have to assume, okay, our normal kind of go-to strategy kind of flopped pretty hard. Maybe it's time to shake things up a little bit. In some regards, I kind of like that. And, some other ways, it's a little bit scary to have this Venno actually as a first pick. I mean, I'm not personally a huge fan of the hero. I think it's like a third or fourth pick, though, most of the time.
Yeah, I actually want to double check here when they pick it, because I don't think they first phase picked it too often.
I would be really surprised if they did.
I think usually it's like they'll get like the Void in the first phase, they'll come back for the Venno later on. I'm bringing up some of the other drafts, but it is something different. They get the Darkseer now as well, so they get the big combo. And Empire with the Doom first pick, a hero that they've used quite well.
Yeah, they did it last game. It's kind of like a similar opening from them.
And again, the Disruptor versus Darkseer, so they really like that matchup.
I think it's just like a better answer for Darkseer when you get towards the mid game, because like Oracle can be great against him in lane, but Oracle kind of suffers in the team fight capacity where you normally want to pick him if the enemy team has like a Beastmaster or some other really good single target lockdown like a Bat. And then, Disruptor obviously can do okay against that, but not quite as strong. Disruptor just offers you the better team fight. So like a good kinetic field, static storm can just kind of snowball you into a team fight win based off that alone. And looks like No Diggity are going to respect ban the Ramses AM. I kind of like that, considering they value the Darkseer so highly.
So, I was wrong, actually. They have been picking Venno first phase, but they've been doing it with a Void 2 out of the 3 games. The other game, they got a lone Druid first phase, so not a hero we've seen from them today. But yeah, they do first phase pick the Venno.
I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, the strength of the hero is you can kind of put it mid. It's like this kind of siege engine. He has really good damage during the mid game as well. Like you're talking about, the Vac Poison Nova can be great. And it's just something that is extremely difficult to commit resources to from the enemy team if you want to try to kill it. Like, you do not want to gank this hero. You can get Galed, there are Plague Ward slow. If he's level 6, there's a potential for he can just turn it around on you as well. It's just a really... He's an annoying hero. That's pretty much what he does best.
Yeah, I mean, him, the Viper, all the poison heroes, they suck. We hate them. We hate them here.
Yeah.
But they are effective. You can't argue with the results. Now, they have run it as support and mid. Qualifier has played it mid. Yapzor has played it as support. So we don't know for sure how No Diggity plan to use this. They've been going a lot for the Alchemist. I think they've had it like 3 out of the 4 games here. Do you think we'll see another Alch? Do you feel like he's a good hero for them?
I still feel like it's good against the Doom. I think the biggest problem with the Alch last game is that there were so many things going wrong that Era, even getting like a pretty good amount of farm, just couldn't overcome the deficit that they had accrued in the first like 10-15 minutes. Like the Yapzor Enigma got shut down, offlane Kezu wasn't doing great, and even if he was, they had AM, which is like an amazing mid-game counter to Darkseer. It just felt like so many pieces were missing that I don't really even think the Alchemist was the problem. I think it was just the other factors that made the Alchemist bad. And I still feel like against these 2 heroes in particular, he's still quite good, because they do lack the damage during the mid-game to really take him down. And we saw that showcased even in last game. They 3-man gank him, drop 2 ults on him, and they still can't kill him. So yeah, I think it's still a pick they could go for here.
Empire taking their time with the 3rd pick. They see the Venge come out from No Diggity. Getting, I think, a more comfortable support for Sin. That was something else that Owen brought up in the previous series, is that Sin was on an Oracle one game. I think he ended up playing the Lion in another. And the heroes that he's had the most success on, the Venge is one of the big 2. We haven't seen him get his hero, but this time he does. Empire have not opted to take the Ad Finum strategy of banning him out as much. Instead, they will go into a Jug now. So getting a pretty jack-of-all-trades carry that can fight, that can push, that can scale. Generally, we see Ramses go for the Battle Fury build. And something that can deal with the Ion Shell Darkseer quite a bit as well.
Yeah, it's just really strong. You can kill that offlaner so easily with this combination alone. And I mean, that really sets Empire up for the rest of their draft, because having the Doom that you can kind of put anywhere, like potentially it's just going to be Afterlife Doom, right? He'll go to the off lane, he'll eat his creeps or whatever, mostly be fine. And then you have this safe lane that can destroy the Darkseer no matter what. Like, it's going to be really hard for Kezu to get anything out of that lane, especially once a Juggernaut hits like level 3, level 5. It's going to be rough. So, like, thinking about that, I'm thinking for No Diggity, it's probably less likely to be a support Veno. Like you said, they've run it in the past, but the problem is if you put it as support, he's going to want to jungle a bit, and the Darkseer will probably be forced out of his lane. So I don't know if there's actually enough room to have a support Venomancer and a Darkseer if the Darkseer can't actually stay in that off lane.
They'll pretty much put their cards on the table here. No Diggity, 4th pick. They've got a lot of damage, a lot of AoE. Don't have too much lockdown to work with, and Blade Fury feels extremely strong against this Venomancer Darkseer thus far, so curious to see if they'll try to get some more control.
The Jug is a really solid pick because he's innately hard to catch out, and a lot of the often like mid lane pick heroes that you would want to go for, you know, assuming that Veno is board, is like the Queen and the Puck and whatnot, and neither one of them are particularly good against Juggernaut, at least in terms of catching him. But that is a good answer. Sven, very high armor, good against Omni Slash. Spin during the mid late game, not really super scary. You can just kind of hit him, and he just dies. It's a very good answer. This is a bit more, you know, I'm sure they've played the heroes in the past, but it's a bit more conventional, barring the Veno. I think that's something that No Diggity themselves just like to do. But yeah, I like this Sven pick. I think it's really solid here.
Alright, how do Empire look to deal with it? They have decent magic damage, but by no means exceptional. And, you know, another hero, Andy, that's not really that great to Doom. If you get off the God's Strength, Sven pretty much does his thing whether or not he's doomed. So maybe a little bit easier to kill in the fights.
And, you know, the funny part about this lineup is they could still last pick Alk if they feel like they can get away with it. Because, you know, Empire are going to show either what, their second support, or they're going to show a mid in this pick. And, I mean, that kind of gives you a lot of information. So it looks like it's going to end up being the wait, that's a mid Mirana, right?
Looks like a carry Mirana for Scandal, I want to say.
Yeah. If it's mid Mirana, yeah, I think you can still get away with Alking here. Maybe Empire ban it, though. I mean, it's still one of those heroes that Mirana isn't notorious for her laning potential. It's more about like the Aghanims build-up and whatnot that's kind of made her super popular recently. And she also has a tendency to build Midas, too, which slows the tempo of, you know, what Empire's team would want to do normally. So if she goes that Midas build, you can punish it with your own greed by picking up the Alk for Era again.
Yeah, and the last 2 times they ran it, they're 1-1 in their last 10 games with the hero, and both times it was Scandal. The one thing I like about it is just it gives you magic damage versus Sven, and someone who's pretty good at like chasing and finishing off low HP heroes. So don't want to go too heavy on the physical damage against Warcry. So I think it's a good pick. Fits Scandal well. Maybe a little bit greedier than last game with the Puck, but it suits Empire overall.
It's just a really good skirmish lineup so far. Like Empire can take fights at, you know, any given point. Oh, that was sick. Okay. No Diggity are sad right now.
Take the Enigma. No counter junglers. The 2 invis monsters have been removed. The Riki, the Bounty. And if they can punish No Diggity, beat them with their own Enigma, I mean, talk about a painful way to get KO'd here in the qualifier.
Oh, man. That was actually so good, too, because if you look at No Diggity, like you mentioned, there's no counter junglers, but the other thing, too, is Venomancer is more or less a stationary hero. So he doesn't really want to go across the map to try to mess with an Enigma in the woods, and the mid is a mobile hero in Mirana who could potentially even help out, you know, if King R is in trouble, because I guess it's Maposhka who plays the Disruptor, right? And then King R plays Enigma on this lineup. So yeah, that is actually a sick last pick from Empire.
Well, let's see if No Diggity can quickly find an answer. They will try. It is the Qualifier Tinker, a hero that he's played once in this qualifier, I do believe, but mostly a hero that we haven't really seen since, I think it was that TI3 Liquid lineup with, was it TI3 or was it TI4? I'm not sure, but there were some crazy games for Qualifier on this hero where like he would throw the team on his back, drag them across the finish line, kicking and screaming. How good of a Tinker game is it? Do you think this is a game where the hero can take over?
It's really good, actually, because if you look at Empire's lineup, they have like this Juggernaut Doom, 2 kind of melee-centric cores. Sure, Mirana can hit the tier 3 tower, whatever, but high ground's the name of the game against Tinker. That always has been, always will be. So pushing into that tier 3 is going to be an absolute nightmare, because Enigma, it kind of suffers from the same problem. You don't really have a good hero of just breaching the tower, and yeah, you can outgreed maybe Dig during the early game, but once you get to the tier 2s, tier 3s, that tanker is going to become such a problem. And you don't have good catch for it either. Like, Disruptor is not really that good against Tinker, because you need vision of him in the first place, and to be able to close distance in order to get a Thunder Strike or a Glimpse off. So you kind of have to anticipate his movements. And I had the rules reversed, by the way. It's Miposhka, Enigma, and then King R on the Disruptor. But yeah, I think it's a really solid last pick. E-Wolves actually ran this at We Play. Smash was playing it. And it was pretty decent. I think they won a game or two with it.
All right, let's see how well it works out. I think, like you said, the key here is there's no Spectre, there's no Batrider, or, you know, Storm back in the day. As Ramses will get scout out. Yep, so flings out the Venomous Scale, but not going to connect. Not an easy hero to kill, even if you do. And Kanar will back away. So smoke not going to amount to a whole lot, but Diggity's still going to try to get up in the jungle. Yapsor taking some auto attacks. Kanar's out fairly far here. And Era is wrapping around. His smoke now revealed as well. Can go in with the Storm Bolt. He thinks about it. He does a little pump fake, but then decides that could be a lot of wasted mana without getting the kill. And no Diggity will just back off and probably, I guess, drop a ward or two here.
Yeah, this is the traditional way to counter Enigma. You know, you just ward his jungle. It's really kind of... I don't know if they can ward enough of it to slow him down, because the camp that's near the top one, I want to see if they ward that too, like the large camp. If they ward all three, then yeah, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Pushka is starting off with a sentry though.
I've seen when the new map, like when the big map changes happened in the previous patch and they added the new jungle camps, Fear was running a lot of Enigma, and he would very consistently still get his farm. Like I saw teams, I think at least 3 or 4 times, tried the double ward on these two camps, and he would just go farm the one you mentioned, and it was like maybe slightly slower, but he was still, you know, hitting level 6 around like the 5-6 minute mark and on a good pace overall. So unless they actually commit a hero there, I would imagine we're going to see something fairly similar from Miposhka, but he is heading top for the time being. And they're tri-laning this. Look at that.
After seeing the aggressive tri-lane, it makes sense. So Dig, they just want to make sure the Juggernaut doesn't get off to a good start. That means there's going to be 0 pressure on the Enigma if he just goes aggressive, and you know, even Kezu is going to be a little bit annoyed with this. Not really much he's going to be able to accomplish, and even with this tri-lane here from Dig, I don't know if they can actually kill the Jug. Like, yeah, you're going to slow Ramses down a bit.
Afterlife is just going on this. This is a level 1 Darkseer. He does not have access to Surge. He's still diving. Infernal Blade's going to come off cooldown in 5 seconds. This could well be the first blood. Right around the trees, still committing. The creep wave there. Is Afterlife going to get baited in? No, while that was happening, Kanar ends up going down first. But Afterlife does get the kill in the end, as Kezu will fall to the Infernal Blade damage over time. So a 1-for-1, but the first blood at least to no Diggity, as Kanar will have to make the walk of shame back bottom, holds the TP, but does not want to use it to get there faster. Oh.
And this is definitely not the norm, what we're seeing out of the laning phase so far here from both teams.
How does Doom kill a Darkseer level 1? Like, that basically never happens.
Dude, Infernal Blade is OP. Have you seen that ability?
Yeah, it clearly is. I guess the Enigma showing up caught him off guard, didn't get his level 2 in time.
Yeah, well, they were soaking experience from the camp, so he just didn't get it. Yeah, and that just results in him being dead. So it leaves like this 1v1 matchup mid, like Tinker versus Mirana. I have to assume that Tinker wins this, but so far, looks like Scandal's got like a tiny edge. Nothing really to write home about, though. Only a 2 CS lead, and no one... Or actually, he just got the first deny in the first 2 minutes. But it'll be interesting to see how this kind of shapes up, because it just seems like Empire kind of getting everything they want out of the early game, barring the safe lane. And I kind of think with, you know, this Enigma mid-game, having Doom to fall back on and Scandal, that it's kind of okay if Ramses doesn't have an amazing start, because he can always just bring Healing Word to pushes, and he's always going to have Spin and Omni Slash for team fights, so we'll have to see.
So after all that warding, they committed a total of 4 wards in the aggressive tri-lane, and the deeper in the jungle. Enigma's just free farming now. Level 3 already at 3 minutes with the early pressure. I mean, it's one thing to go farm your own big camp, but to be able to just farm the enemy jungle, that's even sweeter. He'll have uncontested farm here. And the Mirana doing well mid, as you mentioned, so overall, Empire having the early advantage here. 1,000 gold lead, 750 experience, and that is with them not getting the first blood. Imagine if they did. It's looking pretty good here in the early moments.
This is when you kind of ask yourself, is the aggro tri-lane really worth it? Because you're giving away so much, actually.
They're going to stun Ramses here. He's got the Blade Fury available. He's forced to TP out, though, as Era works on him with auto attacks. Can't quite get the kill. And he TP'd back to the tower. Ramses, he'll survive this. So pretty patient there under all the pressure. And not going all the way back to base. Will now pop this out. But while that was happening, the mid lane, it looks like Quakefa finds a solo kill on Scandal. He had been holding 2 skill points, and then he quickly put them into heat-seeking missile and made a move on the Mirana.
That's gotta just be, you know, you're not used to playing against Tinker right now, so just underestimating the amount of burst damage the hero can actually do in lane. And
yeah, I
like
guess he did skill the homing missile. A lot of times we'll see players kind of debate between that and hem and haw with, you know, saving for the march and the farming in the jungle, but his team's not stacking, so it feels like this is probably not going to really slow him down anyway.
yeah, exactly. Oh, they're gonna find King R here.
Still level 1 on the Disruptor. Tries for the TP out. The Venge Stun, though, going to prevent that. And King R down. Oh, Diggity. They're getting a lot out of this offensive tri-lane. It is coming at the cost of a level 5 Enigma at 4.5 minutes, but the kills do keep on piling in. And with that last kill, as well as the solo kill mid, more importantly, Gold even experienced a bit of a deficit, but nothing insurmountable here.
I actually think that, yeah, King R needs to stop going bottom. He's got level 2 now, so, you know, a well-placed kinetic field and maybe a glimpse can get a kill on mid. Because Quakefa's probably not going to be receiving too much help. Like, they have TPs on the supports, but neither of them really have any mana. So, like, if Yapsor TPs, he's just an auto-attack, and Cinderin's almost in the same boat. I think they could potentially set up a kill on mid, but Quakefa seems to be pretty keen to this, knowing that the safe lane support just died, so he's staying pretty far back.
And Yapsor is going to make that rotation, the journey onto mid. So wants to support Quakefa a bit. And it looks like he'll get into position here. Wondering if he's even going to try and see what the Enigma's up to. But that is a dangerous proposition. Miposhka already level 5. Has the double Eidolons. Yapsor could almost instantly die to this. And he does poke himself out. Miposhka couldn't get in range for the Malefice, though. And so now they know what the Enigma's up to. And Disruptor going to join him. It looks like King R rotates in. They're going to get a ward down here. Or at least might attempt to, as King R does have one in the inventory. Kind of debating it, looks like. Let's see where they go. Just going to leech experience in the end.
Getting 3 on Disruptor is kind of that sweet spot. Like, getting 1 point into all your spells is really nice. Some people even opt to like get 2 points in a glimpse if you have somebody else to give you the vision, just to allow for a safer kill. But, you know, really big commitment from the early game out of No Diggity, just going for that aggressive tri-lane, and they eventually are going to break it down.
Kezu, you mentioned the glimpse. The kinetic field are online now, and they're going to find him with the Malefice. Quick glimpse back. The cage is there, and, well, he'll try. He'll try to hang on, but Kezu ain't going anywhere. Yapsor throwing out the Gale and looking to counter-initiate, but not going to happen. A Scandal also pops the Moonlight Shadow. Just, I guess, covering his team on that kill. And Empire will simply retreat. So now they have the level 6 on the Enigma. Black hole in line, smoke up. Potentially could go for a second move here, as that gets King R's level 3, so he begins his recovery now.
I'm not sure about this still. Like, they're probably just going to end up pressuring the safe lane tower on the side of No Diggity so much so that they're going to have to TP back, just like another support. Like, I don't know if Kezu and Yapsor can hold this on their own. Like, King R is getting a little bit of experience now. Like, Cinderin, he's actually almost 5. He's actually really high level, I guess, considering the circumstances, but yeah.
They do have Doom and Black Hole in line, and King R is in position. Drops the kinetic field, is going to cage Yapsor. Kezu, if he sticks around, could get caught by the glimpse. They might lose 2 heroes now as he drops the wall. Does have the glimpse ready. I think it was just cooling down, but no, he's the one who gets turned on. The Doom comes out a bit too late, perhaps. Afterlife taking a lot of damage with Quakefa joining this one. It's gone for the 2-2-2 build, and will kind of blunt that aggression with the March of Machines in the end. So, still Black Hole available. The Doom committed. Not too shabby there. Good response from No Diggity. But this is freeing up the bottom lane.
This is what we're saying, though, by how much commitment they need to make to stop the Enigma push. Like, they had to bring everyone there. So, like, Scandal farms in the meantime. Quakefa's at 29 CS. Scandal's at 48. Scandal has just torn ahead of him. Oh. And they might even get Kezu here.
Yeah, he's trying to run. Oh, good. Did you see the range on that thing? My God, that's ridiculous. He's still diving. Kezu, I hope you know a good juke spot here. That's not the one, and he'll die to the Doom. But still,
he denied himself.
Miposhka,
what a player.
Oh, nothing for No Diggity in that exchange. At least thought they could get the kill in the Enigma, but it will be denied. While Scandal moves in, dropping the Starstorm. Arrow was already committed earlier in this engagement. The Apps are able to survive, so it's a 1-for-0 effectively with the deny there. He does still die, but doesn't look like he lost too much gold. 300 gold.
It's not looking so hot for No Diggity. I mean, granted, their Sven is still kind of in that free farming position, but the Juggernaut's not too far behind. And because of how much of a rotation No Diggity have had to make with their supports, Like Ramses is now in a position where he's able to farm, and Era kind of has to abandon this lane or get somebody else down here. But
Yeah.
they can't really afford to leave the Sven alone for too much longer, and at the same time they have to worry about defending their tower as well top. So they're kind of getting split apart at the moment.
Yeah, and speaking of that Sven, he is going for the hard carry build that we pretty much see all the time now with the cleave. So Dominator probably coming, but it does mean that it'll be a while before he can really offer much in these fights. And no ancient stacks for the time being. No neutral stacks. I mean, I'm not sure how they would have with Empire basically occupying their jungle, but his economy that he's relying on is going to take a while to kick in here, and they might just find him. They glimpse it back. Oh, Era, no. Bottom lane. Omni Slash. Blade Fury. See ya. It was the lane ward that set it up. Empire on point here in game number 2. And while that was all going on, Afterlife also took the tower in the top lane, and he's now picked up a hood. So he is getting very tanky against the Veno, against the Darkseer, the Tinker. A lot of magic damage, and he can block all of it.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to note, actually, about No Diggity's lineup, is the only physical damage dealer they have is really the Sven. Like, sure, your Revenge is going to amplify that a little bit, but I think Pipe is an incredible value item in this game. He's going to opt to finish up the drums before he goes for the full-on Pipe, but once they start pushing down those towers, I can only assume he's just going to finish that item. And once that happens, like your marches are not going to be coming out quite as fast as you would like them to. Quake was only level 8, level 1 rearm. It's not really the greatest in terms of cast speed or anything like that, so it's a bit tricky at the moment for No Diggity. They're not in as bad of a spot as they were in game 1, but you can still kind of feel the Empire's presence is looming over them here.
Yeah, they're just the more confident lineup, really, as you can see Miposhka Invis moving in deep, and oh, he finds Era almost immediately. Black hole ready. Nobody too close, and for Afterlife to get here, he would have to walk past the Dire Ward up on the hill, so it could end up backfiring, but if Era moves in deeper, if he heads to this top lane or the camp beyond it, he may well go down, but Era, not sure if expecting this or just playing it safe, is going to dodge it, at least for now. They're still sitting around, slowly rotating a Cinder in, but he doesn't have swamp yet. Let's see if Era gets even slightly greedy. He sees those creeps. He wants that gold, but he's not biting. He is suspicious in the end as the Doom has moved into the jungle. But maybe Cinder gets caught. Meanwhile, mid lane, there's a glimpse on the Apsor. Arrow coming through, trying to bring that Veno down. Low, and will likely end up dropping here. Afterlife is going to finish him off. And, well, Scandal barely able to survive. He has to jump past the wards as well as the March, but we'll make it out. So another kill going the way of Empire. And again, Ramses, they just can't seem to dislodge him from this bottom lane as he continues to climb right back into it. 4K net worth, becoming relevant after an aggressive tri-lane that was really meant to shut him down completely.
I just don't think they were left with many options with the Venomancer. Like, you either have to put the Veno mid, or you use him as kind of the support that can be a little bit annoying, but most of the time he's just really good at dealing with like a Void off lane, for example. Like, that's one of the best situations I think you can put him in. But since they had to put him against like this Juggernaut, yeah, you got a kill or two on King R, but at the end of the day, it doesn't much matter when the Juggernaut's always going to recover due to just the sheer amount of pressure that Empire are able to apply in other places on the map. So the hero, to me, feels like it needs some experience priority. Maybe not necessarily gold, but he does need to hit 6 before he's going to become anywhat useful on this team.
Well, and it's like you said, that's where, often this hero is more of a 3rd or 4th pick, but hey, it has worked for them in the past, so I guess they had a lot of confidence. Now they find themselves up against it. The scan coming out, and Yapsor just walked into it. This could be bad. Afterlife, the man in front, he's very tanky. The drums, the hood, he can just march in. But Tinker hasn't gotten the bots. He's going to, he TPs, he thinks about it. He is going to cancel it in the end, and why as he did is they would have just crushed him. But the Ancient stack cleaned up. And yeah, Era able to back away, so they do get their gold reward here, and it looks like they won't be punished for it. Close call, though. No Diggity undoubtedly sweating after that.
Could have been a disaster, actually. They got their stack contested and ended up losing a fight around that area. But you can kind of feel No Diggity's strategies always revolve around like 3 heroes that definitely need farm, and then 1 extra hero that kind of also wants farm, but won't take it over the other 3. And like the Venomancer kind of fits into that position where he's kind of greedy, but at the same time, if the Sven, the Tinker are there, or the Darkseer, he's not going to farm over them. It just feels overly greedy every time I see one of their drafts so far in the series.
Yeah, well, they might not get another draft. They have to find a way to make this one work. And it's not going to be easy. Especially looking at the Midas coming out for Afterlife now, to go with the Midas that Scandal already grabbed significantly earlier. That Aghanims well underway. It's up to 1,700 gold as there's a trap on the mid lane. That could set up this arrow. Oh, Yapzor. He does get away in time. Still, double Midas with Devour and a Juggernaut to boot. Not to mention the Enigma, who's basically a core at 4.3k net worth, way ahead even of the enemy Darkseers, the enemy 3 position. You are going to struggle to keep up in the gold game here, and they don't have the Alchemist this time.
Yeah. The fallback mechanisms basically revolve around, you know, whenever Yapzor decides that he wants to skill Poison Nova, getting a nice back stun from the Sven. That can be some nice wombo combo you have going for you, but I don't know if a late game Sven is going to be able to really bring it back. Because the one thing about that hero that usually makes it like this really insane, good gold carrying hard carry is the fact that teams weren't really picking a ton of BKB disable. But nowadays you have like your Banes, Spirit Breakers kind of coming back, Enigma, and that's really the biggest problem that he's going to run into. If he needs to try to carry this team, and he's walking into like BKB black holes and like dooms and whatnot, it can be a really hard game for him. But I suppose he does have Qualifier too. Should be able to make him a little bit of space. It's just tough when you're playing Tinker into Mirana, because if they Moonlight Shadow and they anticipate your movement, you're pretty much dead. Like that's the one way they can actually catch out the Tinker.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to control him a bit. So far, Quakefoot does have the BOTs. He's closing in on the what I imagine will be the blink here, but oh, Miposhka, Rapier out at the perfect time to catch him out. Malphus, they found him. They didn't even need the Moonlight Shadow. They walk in and do it the good old-fashioned way with the Star Storm coming in and thrashing down the Tinker, delaying that blink or whatever item it might be. But Kanar, ball Cinder, he swapped him. He stunned him, but he's trapped here in the Thunderdome. There's a glimpse back. Where are you going, buddy? How dare you? How dare you? Doom now marches forward. Can they lock him down? The arrow's there. No, the Scorched Earth. Cinderin, he went for the counter pick, and he is going to end up counter feeding. Gives up another kill with Doom marching towards Yapzor. Could even go in for a Doom on him, but it's not going to happen. So little sign of life here for Diggity as they give up another 2. And they do that while, again, Ramsey's just constantly farming away from the team. Now he's ascended into basically tied with the Tinker territory and even looking for more.
I don't know who's supposed to be making moves on this team. Like, no Diggity's lineup, Yapzor is kind of the guy you look to if it's not going to be Quakefa to make a play. To get a gank going, you know, play a little bit greedy, maybe get more farm than the enemy team's expecting to have some big impact item. But no Diggity just don't have that hero. Like, Quakefa's on a freaking Tinker. This is not a playmaking hero. He literally just soaks up farm and pushes out waves until he has like 3 items. And then you have a Sven, who pretty much wants 3 items before he does anything, because he's going to need a blink dagger to be able to get into these engagements.
Onto Yapzor, and they are going to engage here, popping the drums. Even with the Gal, he's blocked away by the kinetic field. Kane are on point, and Empire are officially rolling now. 9-4 the score, but it's a lot worse than that might suggest. 8k gold advantage. Even more on the experience, up to 10k. Ramsey's on his way to the Battle Fury. The double might is kicking in now. The pipe up on Afterlife. I mean, they got everything, and, well, they got solo kills bottom. And Scandal will find Cinder, and again, his egg's complete. It is all coming together. Well, you can see the seeds and the signs of that Empire team, that Thrash secret at ESL1 Manila. They are looking every bit as fearsome as they did then, and they're doing it on a new patch. They're doing it at the perfect time. Only one more series away if they can take this game from going straight to back to Manila, and this time to the major.
Oh man, this is really rough for No Diggity. I think they've honestly just been figured out. I think this is the kind of game that happens when it's not necessarily that No Diggity are making bad plays. It's just that they're doing their strategy, and Empire's strategy is just better. Like, what are you supposed to do with a Venomancer support? He can't rotate. Like, he's not going to have any core items. He needs farm. Sven and Tinker both need farm. The Darkseer needs farm. There's just a common theme with their drafts, and it's always
going in on Ramses. He does get the stun up here. Has the God Strength. Can they burst him? No, he's going to live. They really needed that kill, but he's just a bit too tanky. Now the Healing Ward comes out. They're going to glimpse the spin back. Oh, God. Not like this for Era. The Omni Slash comes through. Sure, you have Warcry. It doesn't matter. Empire kill him off, too, and meanwhile, bottom, Scandal, he's going to find a DD Road. He's going to kill Cinder in here again with the Star Storm. The follow-up damage. It's just kill after kill as Empire rain down the pain and continue to extend their lead. And it feels hopeless, honestly, for Diggity. Like, they've got the pipe to do with the magic damage. You mentioned the Tinker takes a really long time still to do much. Spend, they've got control for. The Doom, the Black Hole, until he gets a BKB, everything the Disruptor brings to bear as well. And I mean, really, do you even have late game at this point with the double Midas, the Devour, the Mirana's Aghanim's basically making her like a Radiance level carry, and a Battle Fury for Jug? Like, there's no sign of life. They feel dead in the water at this point, really.
I don't know.
Convince
what else to
me
add
it's
to
not
that.
over, Andy. Convince me.
Okay. So they got Plague Wards, right? Plague
Okay.
Wards are super annoying. You can use it to defend high ground. Seems like there's a consistent theme here whenever I cast this team. And I don't know. It's kind of like you said. You only really feel this way when the enemy team has a lineup that can control the map, and you don't have any like playmaking hero that can kind of get you back into it. And I think it's really important to give Quakefed that type of hero. If your Tinker player is also your playmaker, and you don't already have another one on your team, putting Quakefed on that hero is a mistake. Because even if he plays it super well, he just doesn't have the same functionality that you need in the lineup to be able to succeed. So what does No Diggity actually need for this lineup to work? Okay, well, first off, they need to hope that Miposhka sits inside of his own jungle with all the wards and that he doesn't farm anything, right? Which you're not going to do because they see an aggro tri-lane. They're like, okay, I'm just going to go. Maybe it would have been better to just have the Venomancer follow him around instead, because the Venomancer in lane is not particularly useful when you're soaking experience from two other heroes, right? So then you have like this dual lane versus dual lane bottom, which I still think that No Diggity would have been okay with. And then, worst case scenario, you abandon the aggro tri-lane completely and just put the Darkseer there, which is what I thought would happen in the first place. But they were like super scared of Kezu getting owned in that lane, or they wanted to just keep the Juggernaut down, one or the other, and they just say, okay, fine, we'll put an aggro tri-lane down here. Now my supports are super underleveled, Yapso rotates late, the Enigma gets like level 6 at an amazing timing, and you lost your tier 1 tower. And the last time I checked, the bottom tier 1 tower for Empire only lost like 200 HP. So I think that doing a safe lane, like normal strat, without the aggro tri-lane would have probably done them more favors. But still, I think the Empire's draft is kind of just better.
It certainly feels that way now as top Synderen gets surged in, and then he runs away. Tier 1 still up top. Miposhka very tanky with the Greaves just being delivered now. Not sure they could have even killed him anyway, and certainly not before backup arrived. So they won't take that opportunity. I was maybe wondering, like, oh, could they try and sneak a Roshan here? Synderen has opted for the early Blightstone. Well, we haven't seen too much of this on bench, but Medallion not completed just yet. And they do see Miposhka. There's the swap. He's gonna pop the Greaves here. Gets them off in time. Sven even committing for this. They get turned. No, gets the stun and does get the kill. Was very close to the black hole and just crushing them. But from the bottom, heading up the ramp, are Kanar and Afterlife, and they're ready for blood. They might find the Sven here. Era could be in a lot of trouble. The arrow comes through. That's not going to connect either. Kezu into the trees. He should retreat. And all 4 Empire heroes come up empty on the counter gank. So they lose their Enigma. Yaps are able to farm out mid. Era heading to bottom to push. Quakefed there already shoving in the wave. And finally they get a kill, and there is no punish. There is no trade. It's just something good for Diggity.
Yeah, I mean, once they start getting the tier 1s down, that's going to be where the Tinker can really kind of come into his own. And they still do only have a few ways of catching him, like Moonlight Shadow, first and foremost. But if Quakefed can get a little bit of space, start splitting up the map a bit, I could see No Diggity actually drawing this out. And, the Sven is not really farming, like, super fast, but he also doesn't have much to work with.
Oh, man. Bottom lane, the swap stun a little bit awkwardly timed there as it limited the Sven's ability to dish out damage. And it buys Empire more time to engage. The pipe gets popped. They charge in. Who are they going to go on? Afterlife, he's getting fogged here as it is nighttime, just barely out of rage. But they do find Synderen, and this will be the sacrifice. On the altar of Empire, it'll be Synderen once again going down. Not really much you can do there. 1 and 4 on the bench. It's not the worst death in the world, but it's just another kill. And it's not as though Empire need the gold. By the way, we didn't mention it, but it is triple Midas now. Even Disruptor has one.
That's the confidence Midas LD. That's what you buy when you're like, all right, pretty much the only way we lose this game is if we flub like 2 or 3 high ground pushes in a row. And with that in mind, I think the general consensus for Empire is, get the remaining tier 2s.
Oh, that arrow! Oh!
That was close, actually.
Quakefed just barely out of range. But yeah, it's like, instead of 2 or 3, it's 3 or 4 pushes now that they got to flub if it goes late.
Yeah, maybe a lot more than 2. This is a gigantic lead that Empire have at just 22 minutes in. It's insane.
And as a Radiant team, they are closing in on a Roshan here, it feels like. They've got the lane ward down bottom. The mid lane's getting pushed in by Miposhka. Top tower still active. And they are starting to converge on the pit. The pain even comes from the Sven. Era maybe calling that No Diggity cannot just give this up for free, but it's going to be tough. Are they going to try and smoke into the pit? Are they going to take that kind of gamble? Seems like they might.
When you're this far behind, sometimes you gotta go for something crazy, right? I mean, they got a Dagon on Tinker against the pipe already on Afterlife. I don't know, man.
It's like Empire have an answer for everything. And then you have to worry about not getting doomed here, which is like, I mean, it's about as bad as Invoker and OD getting doomed in the last patch, really, if not worse. They go in, though. Ramses able to counter this one, and now the black hole comes through, 1-2. Ramses has the Omni. He's going for the backline heroes. He's going to latch onto Yapstor. He will bring him down. Pops the Venom as the Omni ends, but the damage done. 3 heroes destroyed. They haven't even been tickled by this. The healing ward was going that entire time together with the Pipe, the Greaves, Empire, free Fountain Trip for us. 3 heroes dead, and it looks like they might have just punched their ticket into the Grand Finals. Leaping forward, clearing out the waves, up to 20k gold. It's either Roche or it's Rax. It's something more for Empire with an arrow, having a fish, quick for first to back off. They may be blunted from breaching the base. The Pipe's still cooling down. The Greaves also. Empire, Roche instead, it seems.
Roshan is the safer choice. No reason to put yourself in a situation where you could potentially die. I mean, I don't think they would, because God Strength and Wall are both down. And so is the Poison Nova, so like all of their team fight capabilities are just MIA. But when you're this close, you know, if you're Empire, there's no reason to take the risk. Just kill the Roshan, go for the high ground siege, or you know, take your time and control the map, whatever you feel is the best play. But I don't see how they're gonna kill anyone. Like that was, you know, barring the stun.
They are gonna fight this though. This could be one last hurrah. They will have the God Strength ready. Moving into position, there's the Blink, the stun's there, it's a pretty good one, he gets off the God Strength, can they actually turn this around? Oh, Ramses, can he really do it alone here? They swap him back in, they're gonna try to finish him off. It was a big gamble from No Diggity, and it's actually working out. They brought down 3, they might be able to finish off Afterlife, it's felt so hopeless. Finally, an opening, Knar dropping the Static Storm though, he could possibly clean up Stragglers, looking to finish off Era, that's 4 dead. Can they get the 5th? Maybe Knar's gonna clean up more, he's gotten a 2nd, but 4 down, the Glimpse back, and Yapsor runs him down. It's 5, and Koikva's on a killing spree. Empire, they were as confident as the situation seemed to present that the game was theirs in hand. Just walk into the Roche pit. But that, my friend, is probably about a 10,000 gold swing.
That's the difference between hitting your Stormhammer on the vacuum. And like the first time when they did a mid, they vacked the Juggernaut, and he spun. So when Era blinked in, the target was magic immune, so he couldn't throw it out. That was a 3-hero vac stun with God Strength. And even without the use of the other ultimates, like Poison Nova is not even off cooldown yet. And Kezu didn't have mana for the wall during the engagement, but that just goes to show, even from behind, a vac stun with a Sven can be pretty devastating. And we said they had to make a play. That was a play.
Yeah, I think vac stun puts it pretty well. That felt like a homing stun of sorts, and it was just perfect. They needed it. 10k goal. I mean, Empire, they do have the 1-game lead, so even if this game somehow they collapse and they lose it, it's not like they're out of it, so I don't think they'll be necessarily tilted, but that's going to be a kick of the ass for the whole team to get it together. Can No Diggity take objectives now? Arrow into the pit. Oh, it's going to hit Hera. It's about a max range arrow, too. So it really slows this Roche attempt down, and Black Hole, 15 seconds to cooldown, but they're getting in. The Roche is low. Afterlife just mans up onto the pit. The back comes out. He will commit. Era's already got the Aegis, and he just bides his time, waits for the re-engage. Disruptor there, and Era, he leaps in. He's going to jump deep for this one. The entire Team Empire just abandoned ship. They're so frustrated. They all disconnect. No, that is an awkward time for one, I got to say.
Oh, boy. That has got to be like the absolute worst thing that can happen.
After the last fight, especially. Oh, God.
To be honest, I think that No Diggity already won this fight anyway. Like, Black Hole's not even... I'm ready. Black Hole's not even off cooldown yet, right? The Mirana doesn't have Blink Dagger, so she has no way of, like, reinitiating. Yeah, this fight is already a lost cause for Empire. Like, you can't, like, walk back towards the pit at all. Roshan's already dead. Era's in here with God Strength on. He's got the Ion Shell. He's just ready to go. I honestly think that No Diggity have already like pulled the game, not completely back, but about 80 to 90% after this.
It's just unbelievable how much, like how quickly they pulled it back. It was literally one vacuum Stormhammer, 10,000 gold.
Yeah.
Crazy
It was a
stuff.
very fortuitous engagement. I mean, to be honest, after watching the way the fight kind of rolled out, maybe Empire weren't expecting them to fight them like that, because they were very clumped up. And most of the time when you're taking those engagements, one of the only spots where No Diggity have great team fight is either at a choke point, which is usually their high ground, or, around Roche. So just not really positioning themselves well enough to take that engagement.
Well, they're going to have a little time to contemplate this. 17 to 11 the score. Empire. Still no sign of them re-entering the lobby. Ooh. Well, I guess they'll get a
right?
mental reset at least, even if it costs them an extra kill or two. But
I mean, I don't know. If I just lost 5 heroes at a Roche fight, then DC'd on the next Roche fight that has like insane game impact, I would be pretty tilted. I wouldn't be like,
oh great,
right,
I have a
now.
timeout.
That's
the other way to that's the other way to look at it, I guess. So,
I guess it depends on the person, but yeah.
I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, I'm checking here in the group. I'll try to find out if we can get any more information about when they're headed back. But it might be a while here. We'll have to see.
I guess we can talk about the potential theory craft of the game going on from this point, because it really seems like No Diggity have clawed their way back in.
Oh yeah, I think we at this point we're talking about how No Diggity are going to win this game because they have cut the lead in half. Empire never took racks. Like they backed off when they went for that Roche. And I mean, I think it's fair at this point to say they'll be down to what, like a 7K goal deficit?
Yeah, something like that.
It's very manageable.
It also depends on how many more heroes they get from this engagement, because there is potential. Like Kezu has Blink and Surge up. They could even go high ground and look for more. Like maybe they get Maposhka or something like that after the fact. They even have a Plague War that's going to be scouting out a few heroes that walk by. But yeah. The Tinker is going to become a bigger issue now as well. Like he's got 4,100 gold in addition to the Dagon 1 that he had prior to taking the first Roshan engagement. So now he can decide, does he want to go for the Shivas for the wave clear? Does he want to go straight Hex? He's got his options wide open because the Enigma doesn't have BKB. I think Hex would actually be really nice for him. And then once that happens, No Diggity can just go back to splitting up the map, which is what Tinker does best.
Yeah, still waiting on information here. Sorry guys, just double checking. So yeah, I mean it goes back to what we discussed at the beginning of the draft, where it looked like a good Tinker game in a vacuum. There isn't great catch for him, and I mean that's still really the case. Like they have Marana maybe to shoot an arrow into the trees is okay. The Glips is okay, but it's like you said, there's no Bat Rider, there's no Storm. I mean, I guess to a lesser extent maybe a Nyx Assassin, or even a Nature's Prophet. Like they don't have that hero to go and hunt in the trees, so Quakefoot can shove these lanes out more aggressively, and with the Aegis, I don't see Empire going high ground anytime soon, Andy, so it will be a reset.
If they get high ground, they're going to have to worry about their own map control.
Yeah, and then I guess the question is, well, like, let's say Empire are on the defensive now. They still have triple Midas. They still have what's like a quad, maybe even quintuple core with Disruptor Midas and Enigma getting decent farm. Can they just farm for late game and say, all right, we can't beat No Diggity now. They had their great Roche fight. They have control for the next couple minutes, but we can just farm for late game and look to beat them there.
You can, but I think that Afterlife's itemization is, it's built around kind of ending the game, You don't build Octarine Pipe to draw it out. I mean, sure, the Octarine is going to help the Midas and the Devour cooldown, I suppose, so there's definitely some synergy there. But I think that Empire's timing was supposed to be like right after the Roshan died, just go higher ground and end the game. And that it kind of throws a wrench into things at the very least, because they're going to need like Disruptor to buy a Blink now. He's going to finish up his Glimmer Cape first, but that's like the best form of catch they have for Quakefa outside of just using the Moonlight Shadow. And I think that's actually going to be the biggest issue going forward. It's not about, how much can we farm. It's can we ever get a chance to go high ground. That was really the thing that made Tinker a nice pick. Like you mentioned in the vacuum, they don't have great pick for him. But if that's the case, then you need a way of pushing out waves to be able to breach high ground without the Tinker punishing you somewhere else. And that's going to be the true test for Empire if they, ever reconnect to the game.
Otherwise, we can maybe see what the AI is really made of here. I have a feeling No Diggity will win that. Yeah, they have the Juggernaut and the Marana who can clear waves pretty well, but then it's like we're discussing that they become vulnerable to ganks at that point. So
yeah.
By the way, Synderen went for Medallion as well as Blightstone here. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean they do stack, and Blightstone's what, 300 gold, so
yeah. I mean, it worked out. It actually was probably the difference between getting that Roche in time and not. Is like the Doom was like right outside the pit, and they just killed the Roche. So,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine them
I
not
mean,
having it. Maybe they don't get it in time.
Medallion is like almost 1,200 gold for 7 armor, and Blightstone is 300 for 2, so it's about the same. Our Medallion's a little bit better in terms of cost effectiveness, but yeah, I think it's one of those things for Venge where you already have so much minus armor. You get like the -6 from the Wave of Terror, you got 7 from Medallion, so you have 15 with like all those 2 items and the level 4 Howl, which is nice because Afterlife hasn't really built any armor items, and in conjunction with the Sven, like you just destroy him. Doesn't matter if you have 2,200 health when you have minus armor against a God Strength Sven, you're just gonna explode.
Well, signs of life here for No Diggity and Empire lacking a pulse. Still
Yeah,
no
they're
word.
actually
Still no word
just
on
dead
where they
right now.
are. I mean, I imagine their internet's just totally crapped out here, but this has got to be tilting at this point. And
I
Cinderen's
mean,
even
I'm
tweeting
tilted
at them.
for them, and I'm not even playing.
He's tweeting at them like, guys, what's happening? They've been
We
asked
need the
what's going
Empire
on.
Twitter
No
guy on the case.
response from our admin. So, well, we have Empire Twitter guy. In theory, he's not. I don't think he lives at the house or anything. So in theory, he should be able to give us an update. But so far, not the case. He was around 41 minutes ago.
He's always waiting to meme. I guarantee you that guy's around.
He was stalking the English stream. There was some sort of like poop head costume that Lyrical was wearing. And
Oh lord.
he made sure to take a nice little snap of it. But wow, what a long contemplative process this will be. I mean, what a story if No Diggity going to win game 2. Now, they did this in the last series, right? They took game 2, they went into game 3, and then they ended up losing anyway. I wonder if they can close Empire out, even if they take this game. Like, do you feel like No Diggity, like before that Roche fight, we were kind of talking like how the teams match up draft-wise, overall strategy. You feel like No Diggity had been a bit figured out. Obviously, they had a great, almost miraculous fight around the pit, but is that still your overall read on the team's matchup? Like outside of the execution, this game maybe being a bit questionable. Like, does Empire just have them figured out? Just needs to play a little cleaner, or does No Diggity actually have a bit better of a game plan than we're giving them credit for?
I mean, their game plan isn't like the draft itself is greedy, but that's typical No Diggity. So all they need to do is like have a better laning phase with this, and I think a lot of it might not even have come down to the draft as much as it was just their decision to go aggro. Okay, we got life here on Empire, by the way. We got one reconnect in Ramsey, so that's a good sign. But I do
now
think
he can start surveying the disaster that's ensued.
Yeah, I mean, even look at where he is. It's like, okay, well, I'm not anywhere near the team fight. My team is pretty much already dead. Like, Afterlife's gonna die in like 3 seconds as soon as that Sven hits him. But yeah, I think the Empire probably on paper still win this best of 3 series, even if No Diggity come back to win it, just based on, you know, how they draft against the team. They seem to have a very thorough understanding of what No Diggity like to do. So we'll see. I mean, it is very likely right now that we could be seeing a 3rd game.
So looking at the overall fight here that might be happening, Ramses is flanking from behind. The Doom does have Doom and an Ensnare available.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They also Black Hole. You just think, no way they can turn this. He's absolutely dead.
He is 1,000% dead.
Okay.
I mean, basically what happens is, like, Era has Echo Saber up, right? So he gets hit twice with -5 armor right now from a God Strength Sven. So he loses probably the majority of the remaining health that he has. He might take like a 3rd hit. Worst case scenario, they just surge Era. And unless he gets, like, he needs to turn around and ensnare, which means that Era could potentially get 3 hits off.
He is stunned he's stunned by Arrow right now, I believe.
Oh, he is Arrow stunned.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's like what, maybe 1 second left? Okay, so maybe he pops drums and walks away then? I don't know. I still think he might die because Synderen has swap up.
And they do have Aegis as well, so Empire, it's pretty risky to try and run into this. All Afterlife says is lights off.
Yeah. I think they might have lost power or something. But yeah, maybe Afterlife gets swapped, and then, you know, he gets swapped and dies. And then they probably just disengage, because Ramses is just way too far away. Like, he doesn't have Blink or anything, so how's he supposed to close the gap?
And it is a level 2 swap as well for Cinder now. He's way back in it as far as experience goes.
You mash that swap button. He might actually be too far. What's the range? 950? It's close, actually.
Yeah, Afterlife, he's slowed by the Poison Stain and just the Poison Stain, actually. It's going to be close. Cinderen's still a bit slower overall, though. All right.
They can kill him.
Here we go. Time to test the theory. Afterlife. Does he get out of this one? Era is stunned, but there's the swap just barely in range. The net, though, well placed by Afterlife. He heads the other direction. Ramses comes in. He spins his way through the wall. They have lost him in the end. You were correct about that, Andy. And, well, now we see if they chase further onto Ramses. The Black Hole's waiting up on the hill. This is kind of a dangerous angle, but they have vision here of the Enigma. And the Omni Slash goes through onto Era. Might be able to shred this Aegis once. Will they commit the Black Hole? They are going to go for it. It's on to 2. Ramses spinning his way through this. The spin hole combo. They do crack that Aegis, but do they lose 2 more for it? The Gale onto Ramses. Yep. Dagger or Taser on 1. And then just a couple auto attacks on the other. Even the Mirana running for dear life. Scandal has the BOTs, but the stun's going to track him down. Oh, the Lincoln Spear at the right moment, but there's enough follow-up. They end up wiping 5, and they get the Aegis. So what was a 10,000 gold swing is now, I mean, probably a 15 to 20,000 gold swing. That experience may actually be favoring No Diggity by the time these graphs update. Absolute, catastrophic, just mind-bogglingly disastrous turn of events here. Empire, they have been completely demoralized. I think that's fair to say.
I don't know why Ramses tried to go back in. I mean, he didn't die until much later into the engagement, but it was pretty clear that he was super far away. Maybe they didn't assess the situation that well before they just like hit unpause and just started playing. But I don't think they had to commit that many heroes. Like, you could just let Afterlife die and just be happy with that. Because Scandal like goes into the river, he tries to go for like the big Starstorm Wombo combo, maybe scare a little bit of No Diggity away, but he doesn't actually get a kill. And because of the fact that he's not dealing any damage to the Quaifa, who is caught in the black hole with the Sven, they just don't have enough damage to kill him. So instead of just all committing to the same engagement, they fought on 2 fronts, split their damage, and because of that, No Diggity walk away with not only another Aegis, but another team wipe.
Who would have thought we would have been saying this 10, 15 minutes ago?
Dude, if they win this game, I am like, okay. So to be honest, they'll probably, they'll make it close at least. You know, I don't know if it's guaranteed that they're going to win now, but given the last 2 engagements, I don't have any reason to think otherwise. And you know, that's a completed hex now on Quakefa too.
I mean, you know, they don't call it a Cinderella story for nothing, Andy. So.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
My
Jesus.
God. They're not there yet, though. And Empire are not going to give this one up for free. As Ramses smoke moves in onto Kezu. Oh, can he get the Omni Slash just out of acquisition range? They glimpse it back, but he can just head to the right here. So that's smoke off the mark. I like how Empire, they fight 2 disastrous engagements in a row, and then their response is, all right, great, let's just smoke and run at them again and just try to close this damn game out. Screw these guys, but No Diggity, a bit too elusive.
It's kind of tricky now for Empire, because they don't have the initiation items that they need. It's like the Juggernaut wants Blink, the Doom wants Blink. Even the, you know, Scandal's Mirana also wants the Blink Dagger as well, just so you have some way of getting in. Because right there just showcased perfectly what kind of situation they're in. Like, they want to play aggressive because they want to reestablish their map control, but they just don't have the items for it. Ideally, with their lineup, they want it to be like sieging this high ground, having a concave of heroes with a pipe and a super tanky Doom sitting on the front line and just hitting the tower. Where that situation, you don't need the Blink, but now they do, because No Diggity have regained some semblance of the map control themselves. It's going to be hard now, I think, fighting for Empire.
So it's a very unorthodox item here from Afterlife. He went into Octarine Doom.
Yep.
Any thoughts on this? Why exactly he's picking it up?
It's decent synergy with the usage of Doom and Devour / Midas, so you get a pretty good amount of GPM, makes you tanky.
They are going to go here. They Doom Era. Cinderin does have the swap available, going to bring him back towards safety, but they're chasing onto him. Ramses with the Omni Slash could look to make the move forward. Hasn't cast it yet. The Black Hole, though, comes through on to 3. Miposhka pulling this game back. That's 4 down all day. No Diggity. Well, they may have just been thrown back 6 feet under just when you think 2 team fights in a row that they are completely in the driver's seat. Empire stomp them, and they pull it back the other way.
It's like the X Factor from both teams. So you have like the Enigma with the Black Hole on 1, and then you have like the Vac Stun on No Diggity, which is kind of what originally brought them back into the game. They're probably less reliant on that now, although still nice to get if the opportunity presents itself. And yeah, getting the Doom on the Sven right away just deletes Era from the fight. He didn't get his God Strength off. Like, that's the key. If you can preemptively pop your ulti, then getting doomed isn't as big of a deal. But if you don't get the ult off and you get doomed, then you're kind of like a kitten running around in a team fight, just trying to hit people and not doing a whole lot. So Empire are going to be happy with that. Man, no diggity. If they just get so close just to get shut down at the very end, that would be like... That would even be, I think, more devastating than just getting stomped.
Yeah, it's always painful to get stomped, but this would be the ultimate sorrow, I think. Like, so close. Feel like you're right back in it. 2 Miracle team fights in a row. Take the Roche, start pushing the lanes, and then Empire just slam the door. But they haven't lost Rex yet. It's still a manageable deficit, back up to about 10k gold experience, but, you know, given that they have the Tinker, they've got good high ground defense, it feels like it's still in their
doable.
grasp. But not going to be easy now.
They just need one good initiation. Get the Sven going into the team fight.
They do find Kanar here. Yapsor walking up into the Static Storm. The Miposhka. Oh, a bold blink forward. That was pretty aggressive, and they want to punish him. One more swing. They can't quite finish him. Did BKB out of the glimpse, but able to get away, and now they re-engage. Infernal Blade thrown onto Yapsor, but turning elsewhere, looking for a Doom target. Cinderin being run down into the trees. Oh, poor Cinderin going for the swap, but Miposhka there to greet him. There's just no easy way out of this one, and in the end, they will cage him, finish him off. Yapsor trying to help his friend. May pay the ultimate price with the Thunder Strike, dropping the ward. Afterlife closing in slowly but surely. Can he get him? No, he's able to jump out in the end. And while that's happening, the Radiant Courier actually getting sniped, as it was the Blink Dagger, I think, killed off by the Veno wards there. So they do lose a Blink for some time.
I mean, getting something for what otherwise would have been a pretty bad engagement, so I suppose it's not too bad at the end of the day there for no diggity. And you know, the Venomancer is getting closer to the Aghanims. He's about halfway, maybe a little bit under right now. But once he gets that, he already has Veil. So Poison Nova is going to start to become this really strong utility in fights. Like, sure, there's a pipe and everything, but Veil Poison Nova does like some of the highest damage in the game of abilities. It's like absolutely ridiculous. Plus, you can put March on top of that, and as we already mentioned, the decent Vax stun. So, no diggity, win for a play. It didn't quite work out, but it's not super bad considering the fact that Quakefa, like we mentioned, has his Hex going. Is he gonna go for this? No, he's just gonna TP away. There is kind of a point where the Tinker is gonna hit critical mass, and then he can just start solo killing heroes if he knows that they're isolated. And that's also something that a Tinker kind of offers that no other hero really does in the patch right now, because people don't play stuff like Storm anymore. Like, Storm was that guy who could just like solo snowball a game by solo killing a core. Tinker can kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, and they don't have like the ultimate Tinker counters as we discussed, so.
Yeah.
It is a game where he could take over, and if anyone could do it, Quakefa's got to be right at the top of the list of experienced Tinker players. The hero certainly changed a lot since his heyday with it, but still a lot of the core mechanics remain more or less untouched. As they did manage to get some wards down here a bit earlier, trying to keep tabs around the Roshan pit. They know this next Aegis could be coming soon. And I guess the question is, can they take the Roche? Will Empire fight into it? They certainly appear like they want to mobilize that way. They're heading straight down. Arrow into the pit. An early scout. It is actually going to be a quicker Roshan respawn. This could be Big who gets it.
I don't think either team can afford to really give it away for free. I think they both need to fight this.
Diggity still just waiting. The courier has a scout. I think they just saw it. But no rush to get in there.
Era doesn't have a TP. Okay, so if they moved really fast, they might be able to get to Roshan before the Sven would be there. And without the Sven, you just simply don't have damage to be able to kill. But it looks like Empire aren't going to take the risk. They shot the arrow into the pit, and that just kind of says, okay, well, if Roshan's not up, there's no reason for us to be here. We need to continually be efficient while we're farming the map. Could end up backfiring, though. It was a small opening, but looks like Empire won't be able to take it.
So Ramses does continue his item progression here. Goes back into the Diffusal Blade for the Jug. Yapsor, oh, bold blink forward. Just plants down that Plague Ward very confidently. But now the Radiant Courier has respawned. So we're going to see the Ramses blink coming out. And he will have a little more gap closing potential here against the Tinker now.
Yeah, this build is really good against Tinker. You can Manta and defuse the laser if you like get into a situation where you're just in a right-click war. It's really good for chasing down the Darkseer, can purge everything. We talked about that, I think, in the previous game. But yeah, in general, this is kind of the go-to Jug build. Usually the transition after this is just like a Scotty, or a BKB if you really need it.
And you can see Quakefa does begin the fun process, actually continue the fun process, I should say, of leveling up the Dagon. Now level 4. Generally, it's the E-Blade next. Is there any reason to think that wouldn't be the item? It's been a while since I've seen a farm Tinker, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if E-Blade's actually the build anymore. I think like some Tinkers prefer getting a little bit more sustain. Like even getting a Shivas can be nice, like the armor, being able to push the waves just that much faster. But yeah, E-Blade's still alright if you want to just go for like the maximum amount of burst. And since, you know, with the Poison Nova and whatnot, they might actually just go that route.
How about like does Bloodthorn have a place on that hero? I mean, obviously you don't benefit as much from like the physical damage aspects of it, but just for the amp. Oh, hold that thought. They're moving in. Moonlight Shadow. They found Cinderin, and they are gonna just absolutely beat the crap out of him. Cinderin. Actually, whoa, oh, is he really getting out of this one? The illusion's working on him. He manages to lob out a stun, but that's not going to amount to much. But they get the Veto combo up. Oh, baby, that's a lot of damage. Sven going to work. Smacking down Afterlife. Cinderin was the bait. It's a 2 for 2, a 2 for 3. They might get more. Scandal on the run. And now the Taker Hexes can get to work here. He's going to lock down Scandal as well as Kanar. Koikpa here, there, everywhere. A triple kill for Era. Cinderin was fool's gold. And Empire made to look like such. As the lone survivor, Kanar on the run, but Era's going to have a blink. 2 seconds, 1 second. He jumps, he leaps, he hits. It's a kill. It's 5 dead for 2. Oh boy. This game, just look at the graph. It tells the whole story.
That was a gigantic misplay from Ramses, though. Like, when you blink into small pathways like that, the worst thing that you can do is pop Mantis Style. Because there's a good chance that it's going to block your pathing, and that's exactly what happened. That's why, you know, the Venge didn't just instantly die. And instead of being able to reset the fight, everyone decided to clump up. Even with the Moonlight Shadow, they were kind of baited into this false sense of security of, okay, we're safe. But the first person in the team fight to actually die from Empire is the Enigma, and then Afterlife dies right after. So really good targeting there from No Diggity, after realizing that, hey, we can turn this. Our Venge might have died in the beginning of the fight, but we got our combo off, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, they got it all. The Vec, the stun, the spend, instantly beating them with the God Strength. And I think at the time he still had the double attack in that fight.
Yeah, he had
so,
Echo Saber.
Yeah, he had Echo Saber. So, like, basically instantly killed 2 of them at that point. And they didn't have either ultimate used. No Doom popped, no Black Hole engaged with. So that really wasn't Empire's, like, true team fight. But, hey, that's how No Diggity won it.
Yeah, it was just a really big misplay that No Diggity capitalized on very well. And I mean, sometimes that's just what you gotta do. You gotta wait for the enemy team to make a mistake and just make sure you punish. And No Diggity now feeling, I would say, pretty confident.
So it is Dagon 5 now. We'll get to find out soon what Quick has in mind here. Up to 2,300 gold as well.
I mean, potentially he does have like 2 more inventory slots, because you can get rid of Bottle and Soul Ring and just like swap them in the stash for when you go back to base. But
yeah,
my personal like experience, a lot of Tinkers enjoy the Shivas. It could be E-Blade if they, like I said, if they just want to go for the big damage. But
is the
to be
Bloodstone
honest,
still a thing, or not so much anymore?
I mean, it can be, but I think it's something that you want to buy earlier into the game, just for the amount of mana that it gives you, and your ability to just push out waves farther. I still don't think it's bad, though, because if you use it properly, you never actually give away a kill, which can be really nice. But yeah, we'll see, one way or the other.
Well, No Diggity. They're now on the offense. Charging down the bottom lane. Can't believe I'm actually saying it, but it is happening. Empire, their waking life turning into a living nightmare, perhaps, as Era thinks about the poke on the high ground here. Does have the blink stun. God Strength ready. No Diggity. They want to be careful about this, though. And Empire already scrambling the split push, heading 2 towards the top lane. Disruptor, maybe to plant a ward, maybe to get a glimpse back, and Jug to push. So they go in. Blake Malphus forward, Miposhka with the engage. And now the follow-up comes through. Ramsey's in, but there's the swap up by Cinderin. Sacrifice for the greater good, and Cinderin will end up going down for that. So the push pretty much over now. They get a kill in the Venge, and they will have to back away. That leaves the Aegis at, let's see here, just under 3 minutes to go. So they might have time for another push.
Man, it just shows the power of that Aghanim's Marana. Like, totally cleared the creep wave out in like 1 second, so they couldn't even try to go high ground without committing the Sven all the way to the tower, and just gets arrowed in the face.
Yeah, I mean, maybe No Diggity need a pipe of their own just to deal with that.
I think it actually eats pipe in like 1 double Starstorm, right? Just by the amount of damage that it does?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. And then if you actually get the cast off as well,
Yeah.
you're probably killing most of the wave. But, I mean, it's like the Tinker, I guess. So both teams kind of have their own Tinker at this point, in a way.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, it's going to be a hard base to crack for either team. No question about that. I think it might even be harder, though, for Empire, because now we talked about, like, the Ag's Veil earlier on the Veno. Yapzor's got it done. So it's level 3 Poison Nova with the damage amplification.
And it does, I mean, it's been a while since this change, but it does pierce spell immunity. So it doesn't matter if you Blade Fury, if you have BKB, like, you get debuffed by it, it lasts forever. And when that magic immunity wears off, you just start dropping like a rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really scary. I mean, Empire do have, like, a fresh BKB on the, is it Enigma and the Doom? Yeah, okay, so they're both 10 seconds.
And the Marana, 9 seconds there. So they are fresh now, but it's if the game drags, yeah, it gets tough.
It just puts a lot of emphasis on the next few engagements, like the big fights that break out. Can Empire utilize their BKBs properly? Because if not, then the Venomancer becomes, like, a little bit stronger. And it's going to be difficult for the Enigma to find reliable openings.
So Qualifier making his journey here to the side shop. He has bought a Bloodstone now. With the nice 12 charge start you get nowadays. So he'll rotate. Well, let's see if they actually threaten high ground here. No, they're going to back off. The God Strength just used for the tier 2. He will start dealing with this top wave. You can see Miposhka sitting back. Not sure if he's really thinking of a go here. No, he's going to jump with the trees.
Nah, he can't.
And Ramses is going to get a Basher now, so they want a little more lockdown. I guess to try and deal with the Sven, maybe pick off the Tinker. But, oh, Koikpa!
Yeah.
Oh, he's so close to fighting Miposhka.
That would have been super unfortunate for him.
Yeah, they don't have any BOT2s, so it would just be a dead Enigma at that point.
Yeah, I'm wondering what his game plan is. Like, is he just trying to split? Okay, now he's being back to base. I was gonna say maybe he just goes and makes like conversions out of the wave or something and like tries to push it, but even that can be risky because if the Tinker catches you, you're still dead. All right, so Aegis reclaimed. No Diggity looking at what ultimate orb? So Lincoln's? Is that the item? Yep, it is a Lincoln's.
All right. Yeah. Hey, Doom. Omni Slash not very good against. Only blocks the first one.
I mean, it's pretty much just Doom, right?
Yeah. Glimpse, I guess, maybe, so you don't have to waste your BKB on it.
I think a lot of the time he wants to be in the front of the fight. If they're gonna break the Lincolns, it's gonna be like really quick, and then, you know, Glimpse doesn't do much when you're standing in the middle of the team anyway.
Yeah, and you know, with the BKB and the Lincolns, I guess you'd have to Omni him and Doom him in order even to get it off. So, while BKB, he's basically invulnerable to Doom.
Yeah, I think it's hard to justify Omniing the Sven, but I guess with the Fusel Blade you can remove the Warcry, so there's always that. It's not gonna. You say that he still has like 42 armor even before the Warcry, which is pretty insane.
Seems like the Marana is gonna need to be the one to kill him more so than Ramses. But here comes the smoke. Oh, the Manta Illusions deployed. Ramses, he blinked into this. Oh, the Blink Gale that tried to initiate with it. And Ramses just starts spinning to back off. Can they get in position? The swap comes through. The Tinker joining the fray. And oh, God, there used to be a Juggernaut there. Not any longer has the buyback, though. But they didn't really expend anything for that kill. So he is not interested in using it.
It's the kind of map control you get with the late game Tinker. When you have the bots, too, especially, you can smoke up like one hero. If you find somebody who's alone, you just get the permahex, which wasn't even really needed there. It was just kind of like stun into zap into really dead Juggernaut. So it's a rough spot now for Empire. No Diggity are great at controlling the map with their heroes.
Arrow is going to find Kezu very far out of the base. No Juggernaut, so just good to know that they can still hit those when duty calls, but no real chance of engaging off of it. And now we find ourselves 46 minutes in, no Diggity. They already had a very long first best of 3. They lost that one to Adfinum. One of the games that they won going, I think it was like 80, 85 minutes or so. This one, not quite there yet, but it has the markings of a game that could drag even longer, potentially even into the triple-digit territory with tons of split push, tons of creep clear. While they may be in the driver's seat as far as the map control goes, it can quickly fall apart. We saw that earlier with the 3-hero black hole. So if they siege, it's going to need to be careful. Era, well, He's going to be aggressive here. Pops the God Strength, just blinks on in, has the BKB ready. And that's an Aghanim's Disruptor ult, so he's not able to get anything off here, but Sin's there, ready with the swap. That means there's no real counter for this black hole, though, so 2 are down off the bat. Quick on the run, YapzOr back, and they're retreating. They want to get the hell away, but they are going to find a third. YapzOr pulled right back in, pops the ultimate, gets off the Veil. That's a lot of magic damage. They did drop the tower fairly low, but they don't get any kills directly.
Yeah, that wasn't the high ground that they were looking for necessarily, forcing the swap out. And
I mean,
man.
is there another option there? Because your Sven probably dies if you don't swap him, right?
Yeah, but it's fine because the thing is, like, he obviously can't BKB because of the. Actually, yeah, maybe they do have to swap him there.
It's kind of like, do you want Sven to die, and maybe the rest of your team can fight, or do you risk like the black hole hitting multiple?
I mean, at the end of the day, losing just the Sven is probably better than losing the 3 heroes they lost.
Yeah.
So it's a rough call in the moment because, you know, as a support player, you're really only concerned with saving the hero. You're not really thinking about the step after that. You're just like, oh god, I gotta swap him, he's gonna die. And then because that happens, you know, Miposhka gets a good black hole off and you end up losing a little bit more than you bargained for. But a lot of that just has to do with positioning. So maybe next time when they go push that high ground, they just have Cinderin standing behind and everyone else is like really far behind that. Because I don't think there's much of a reason to be close up. Your Tinker has Blink Dagger, the Darkseer has Blink Dagger as well, so does Aveno. You know, you don't need to clump up right on top of the Venge.
Yeah, it was a great catch there by the Enigma. Miposhka very patient, and it does show you how good the BKB Black Hole can be this game. There's just the swap, nothing else to cancel it. I mean, maybe Sven could try to get an Abyssal Blade and get really lucky with positioning, but that's very low percentage, so.
Yeah.
Intense one, and Empire, they want a breather. It may say 48 minutes there at the top, but I think we're already like well into like the 60, 70 minute territory with the disconnect. It was a long one, so.
Might have to get Lumi soon, you know? He loves these games.
I think he might be sleeping off some of the Asian Dota from earlier, but I think he comes back for America, I want to say.
Yeah, okay. I miss my Lumiisms, that's all. It's like my favorite thing about watching him commentate is some of the stuff that he says that just makes literally 0 sense, but I can't help but laugh.
These are Lumi games, though. Like, this is what he lives for, dreams for. This is his bread and butter.
I don't know what his obsession with long games are, actually. Like,
it's because they always are epic, right? Because, like, even if they're poorly played or they end suddenly, like, there's going to be, like, 20 buybacks, some sort of crazy throne race, boots of travel everywhere, can shriek incoherently at everything. I mean, that's what we all do when it gets late, but yeah, I don't know. Lumi's just a crazy guy.
Alright, so Empire, I mean, man, it's just so, they really need to blink on King R, actually. That's like the one thing I think that could help them tremendously in these fights. Because if you watch the way that Diggity have been playing, they're the ones who are typically making the moves now, and Empire are just waiting it out. Oh my god, is King R actually gonna get scouted here?
Hello.
He is.
Glimmer TP.
Oh! Okay, he's...
What is happening? Why are these Empire heroes hiding up in this tree line anyway? It's just, I guess, to slightly try and push the waves out.
He can't solo kill anyone, so I don't know why he's there.
I mean, it's a disruptor. It's not like he can push, right? He's gonna Thunderstrike a creep. I'm not really sure what the plan is.
I guess maybe it's to stop TPs. Okay, so like the one way I could see that being useful is if the Tinker is like farming top, and there's a fight simultaneously happening somewhere else on the map, you can stop the Tinker from getting there. That's like the only justification I can possibly think of for why you would be there.
The Surge, the Blink Hex, and they're going to go onto Scandal, quickly breaking the linkage. Chain, nuking him down. That TP,
Jesus.
yeah, ain't happening, Afterlife. Nice try, but the cat has been skinned. And that is the power of late game Tinker. If you haven't seen it before, this used to be every game for an entire pack.
It's a crash course to Tinker right now, being put on by Koikba.
Yeah. Welcome to the clinic. Enjoy your stay. You might not make it out alive.
You might not even be able to control your hero.
Yeah, that's why you just kind of take your hands off the keyboard and watch it happen. It's like getting wobbled.
So I don't think that Empire are really able to do much about this. They got King R kind of YOLOing in the bottom lane, just doing whatever. But this Roshan's going to be free for Dig, and that's also cheese, so I guess Kezu takes it, right? Because he has a Soul Ring in his inventory still. I don't know, I think Empire actually like really far behind. It's not really about like the farm necessarily on the heroes, it's just about like who carries the gold better. And I don't think that, Juggernaut has a much harder time in these engagements doing as much as a Sven, when the Sven pretty much just has to go in and get like 2 or 3 auto attacks off, and you've already done like an insane amount of damage.
Yeah, the Jug has to find a good Omni Slash, worry about, the cheese, the war cry, potentially a swap out, not to mention not getting hexed, which is not particularly easy when there's a swap on the field. So it is really a tough game for Jug. And then you've got a Doom who's got a lot of net worth, but like the Octarine pipe at this stage, how much do they really offer when it's more about like protecting a single hero than kind of spreading the damage to do with the March? I would agree with you. I don't think they use the gold as well at this point.
I'm kind of amazed he hasn't sold his Midas yet, actually. I mean, I don't know what he buys, but...
Smoke, blink, here we go. Arrow straight onto Afterlife. Quick jump in, commits, but he can't kill him off here. The BKB down. He goes back for structure. Cinderin swapping in heroes, though. It's onto Ramses, who Blade Furies. I think No Diggity may be reevaluating this push. The March covers their retreat. They do get the glimpse back. It's onto Era, has the Aegis. Static Storm now deployed. He says, if I can't run, I'm going to take your buildings with me. Aegis down, but Empire are setting up for round number 2. They still have a black hole. They engage with the Moonlight Shadow. There's the blink out from Era. Is there a glimpse back in? It's still cooling down for 1 second. They Omni slash Yapsor. Is that all they get? It looks like that's it. So it's an Aegis for a Rax. We might be in for another 10-minute wait before the next big push.
Yeah, I think definitely if you're no Diggity, you wait it out. Because you can just push the lanes out. Like, Quickfist's doing a really good job of not getting caught. He's only died 2 times this entire game. It's kind of crazy to think about. 52-minute game, you only have 2 deaths. Although we did kind of attribute that to the lack of catch in Empire. I don't know what their game plan is supposed to be. Like, the one thing about their lineup that is really hurting them is they only have really 2 heroes that can wave clear. And the problem is, if you don't adopt the buddy system against Tinker at this stage in the game, you just die. Like, we saw what happened to Scandal when he tried to solo push out top lane. That hero has 2,700 health and a Linken's, and he still just got wrecked. So if it's anybody else, they just get obliterated. Empire can't afford to play split up, but if they don't play split up, they're losing efficiency. Quakeva's pushing like 2 other lanes at the same time. It's just a lot. It's very overwhelming playing against late game Tinker with these heroes.
And they'll get a refresher on Doom. I mean, a lot of games, Andy, you look at this as like, oh god, we're going to be fighting 5v3, but this game, I don't know if he's going to get to cast these Dooms. And if he does, there's the Linken's to worry about, there's the swap to save heroes. Like, it feels like they really do have answers for the late game Doom, so it could be a game changer, but no guarantees here.
They're going to need a perfect initiation, I think, for that refresher to matter. Like, I guess your best 2 targets are getting the Sven before he BKBs and pops God Strength, and then hitting Kezu. Those are probably the highest priority, because I don't think there's any chance you're going to catch out the Tinker. Especially not having like a vision item like Shiva's, which I really think would have been awesome for him this game. Not only because he's squishy, he only has 8 armor at 53 minutes, but just because having that extra item that allows you to initiate and get a clear sight of what's happening allows you to get a better assessment of who you want to doom in the fight, which is a really big deal for him.
Well, you can see the Boots of Travel too. A lot of fun here, as they can pretty much just bring this Tinker wherever they so please. No Diggity. A lot more confident now, even leading with Cinderin at times, knowing that it's Cinderin plus Tinker, which is a whole lot scarier than just the Cinderin Venge at this stage. Quakefa has done his job, controlling the map. Empire at 54 minutes. It's been a long and frustrating road for them this game, but they're not ready to call it just yet. They have all their structures, aside from that 1 melee Rex bottom. They've got a long time before Roche respawns, and they are going to move out. Smoke, Ramsey's in front, Moonlight Shadow as well. There is a gem. It's on Kezu, and he's in perfect position almost to reveal it, but not quite. Oh, can he turn this one? The Blade Fury there. Kezu hanging on. Scandal up into the front lines, working on Cinderin, and Cinderin's going to get caught completely. There's no counter for this black hole. It's huge damage. 3 are down. Might be more. Quakefa, can he turn it though? He might just be able to. No, the Omni's found him. Quakefa has the E-Blade. It doesn't seem to matter as Ramses purges it. Mid-Omni kills him off. That's 4. Likely to be 5. Yapsor controlled and slashed. And likely dead die here. Might be able to get Kinar. A blink forward, trying to finish him off. Kill that Snake Man. Slash him down. They will do so. I think a gem on the deck here as well. A full 5-man wipe. Cinderin completely caught by the hole, and they just had no way at that point to stop it.
The whole fight kicked off in a really awkward manner. Like, he ate the Linken's, And then he wanted, I think, to try to use Abyssal Blade or something, because I want to say he used a Diffusal Blade charge on the first thing of Linken's, and then I think Kezu cast Linken's on him again. So he wasn't able to get the stun off on the Sven fast enough, and then at that point, he, like, literally 3-shot Afterlife. Afterlife didn't even have time to turn around and cast Doom before he was dead, which is why I feel like he kind of needs an armor item. I don't know, maybe. With his 5 base armor and 3,000 HP, that doesn't really matter against the Sven.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It sounds alright.
I just don't understand why Octarine. I mean, when he had Midas, okay. You know, it's a super greedy choice, but...
The only thing that I was thinking of was maybe he got the Octarine for the pipe just so you have the lower cooldown, but I don't know.
Yeah,
that was all I came
that's
up
true.
with.
It doesn't actually have a debuff anymore, so you can just pop it as often as it's up.
I mean, at that point, I guess they're looking at a 15k gold lead. They're trying to break base against Tinker, and they're like, all right, how do we just deal with the March? Spam pipe more, but at this point, yeah, it's not the item.
I think pipe was fine. I just think
Yeah.
Octarine was weird.
Yeah,
That's
it feels like a bit overkill. Well, in any case, they're trying to make the adjustments now, but hey, they get the team wipe. They did have to buy back on Ramses for that one. I didn't mention it in the absolute madness that ensued, but still no Diggity with 3 buybacks, including the Tinker and the Sven. So they have a lot of insurance here, as good as that fight looked.
I mean, now it's going to be even harder to kill the Sven than it was before. Guy just picks up a Satanic. Oh, this is getting rough. Although there is one item out on the field for Empire that could turn the tides in their favor. Having the Lotus Orb available on the Disruptor, that's going to be really nice for dispelling a Hex. If he's on point, you know, you can Glimmer and Lotus Orb the target and make sure they get their spells off before they drop. Because we've been seeing a lot of situations where a hero gets disabled once and then they just don't get a single ability off. And if Afterlife can die in a stun, pretty much anyone can die in a stun on that team.
All right. The poison spreads. Now we've got an Aghanim's Octarine Veno with the Veil. I don't know if you happen to know the math on this half-hand, but I'm sure it's pretty terrible, pretty fatal. And this is that stage where the BKBs do get low. You got a Doom at 7. The Juggernaut obviously just relied on Blade Fury for his magic immunity, and our Mirana down to 6. Enigma, I mean, it doesn't matter so much, sitting at 8. Just needs to get the black hole off, but here we go. Let's see what this Veno can do. Up in front, Yapsor, smoke. Already breaking and jumping in. Looking for Afterlife. Does he get a thing off here? He's just dying to auto attacks. Can't even cast the Doom in time. Down he goes. Enigma's just going to blink, run away. Oh, Scandal in trouble as well. Into the trees. Any sort of escape. No plan. No way out. And more importantly, they lost the Jug. And he's got no buyback.
Their base is probably going to die. They got no buybacks on either of those heroes.
The story is not over yet for No Diggity. Clawing their way back from a 15,000 gold deficit at about 20 minutes. I mean, that's like a 30, 40k gold deficit at this point. And they are on the verge of turning this game, winning it completely, and going into game 3. Now, the last time this happened last series, they lost. So the story's not over for Empire either, but it sure feels good right now for No Diggity as they smash the tier 3. Era up in front, Koikfa off to the side. Laying down the artillery, dropping the march, spamming the rockets, and Era hammering on buildings. Yapsor blinks in. It's a zoning Veno ult as they will just instant KO Kinar's Disruptor. Screw your Lotus Orb, man. You're dead. And that's 2 lanes. It's about to be 3. I don't really see much hope here. Empire just huddling in their well, waiting out the Veno ult. This looks to be the end in game number 2. No Diggity are pulling it out. Somehow, some way, one last fight. Blink, black hole, but they're ready for this. The swap comes out, and now it's time to eviscerate the rest. Scandal just stands and does what little he can, but it's not much. Into the trees, caged by the ward, zapped by Koikfa, death by the Taker. No Diggity, the Cinderella story, it continues here. Just under 60 minutes as the graph plummets below. They will take game 2. They will force game 3. It's not over yet, Andy. It's not over yet.
Jesus. You know,
what the hell just happened?
Like, if I wasn't casting this game, I probably would have turned it off at like 20 minutes. I'd have been like, okay, Empire won this game, you know. I'll just wait until the next series, but...
I wouldn't have blamed you if you did.
Yeah, No Diggity just like with the most insane comeback of the 3-man Vax stun on the back of Era with the Echo Saber, just like demolishing them around Roshan. You know, the one point I want to bring up about this game, besides the fact that Afterlife didn't buy an armor item, is the fact that if No Diggity just didn't go aggressive tri-lane, they could have had a draft that felt like this from the get-go. I think the aggressive tri-lane almost made their draft useless. And that's, I think, a large reason why they were so far behind in the first place. So the draft ended up working out okay. Maybe just don't go all in on your laning phase next time. And I think, it's possible we could be seeing the rematch of Ad Finem, No Diggity in the grand finals here.
Well, the dream is not over yet. Cinderin and friends are still in this one. At times, like at least 4 or 5 times that game, it felt like, oh, their comeback, it ends here. Their comeback, oh, this is the fight where they lose. Big black hole, big juggernaut Omni Slash, but they held on, Andy. They've done it. They forced game 3. One more game before the grand finals. Who's it going to be? Will it be Ad Finem facing Empire, or will they face No Diggity? We're going to find out right after this. This is the Manila Major, the European qualifiers. They draw to a close today. One more team is going. Who will it be? Find out soon.